I wanted to walk on water. So I set out to create a pair of shoes that could achieve this goal, without drowning of course. Initially, I began by searching up shoes that can walk on water. Yeah, when I realized that wasn't going to work out, I began researching buoyant materials that might be able to hold up my weight with limited surface area. Researching this online ended up being quite a bit more difficult than I thought it would be, with very little relevant information to crafting the water walking shoes. After finding a few potentially viable candidates for materials, I began work on the design for my prototype shoes. It was important to me that my design was as small and unobtrusive as possible. So yeah, after many attempts, the arduous and labor-intensive 5 minutes I spent finally paid off, and I completed my prototype design for the shoes that will allow me to walk on water. But before construction of the final product could begin, I needed to get some supplies. And that's why we're going to the store. You know the first man to walk on the moon? I'm gonna be that, except for water. Upon arriving at Walmart, we already started off on a bad foot. We were trying to get this carriage out for like 3 minutes before finally giving up and just taking, one of the other carriages. We then shopped around for the different supplies we were gonna need and picked out the different things we'd use for the shoes. Don't ask what I need that for. Originally, I was going to use 1-gallon jugs for underneath the shoes in my design, but I ended up going with 3 and 5-gallon jugs, as upon a little more research outside of filming, I realized I was going to need more buoyancy in order to stay afloat. And of course, the most important part of this project was the life jacket. Safety first, kids. And also, don't try this at home, unless you're stupid, like me. There's one more thing we need in order to make this project a success. Milk, because I ran out at home. So after getting the rest of our supplies, we got to checkout, checked out, and got out. We got all the stuff that we're gonna need. Now we're gonna teleport back home. Boy, that was quick. Alright everyone, listen up, because here's the plan. Through my research online, I found several different options for buoyant materials, but the ones that stuck out to me were styrofoam, balloons, and water jugs. Using my detailed prototype design, first, I'm going to be wearing an actual shoe on my foot, which will be strapped in with bungee cords to a thick layer of styrofoam underneath. Then, underneath the styrofoam layer, there's going to be several empty water bottles that will help support my weight. Throughout the middle of the shoe, there's going to be several balloons that are going to act as a failsafe to keep us afloat if we begin to lose buoyancy and sink. And if all is successful, this guy's going to walk on water. Construction didn't go as planned. As you can see here, the pieces I have are way bigger than the pieces in my initial design, so I made do with what I had and altered the design. Another setback I wasn't anticipating was there was way less tape on this roll of duct tape than I thought there'd be. However, the bungee cord should hold everything together relatively well regardless. Probably the biggest issue I ran into, and a huge flaw in my original design, was I only had one bungee cord fastening the shoes to the actual contraption itself, which would quickly become a problem as the second I hit water, my heel's gonna lift up and my shoes are gonna slide out. I didn't really feel like going to the store for a third time, so against my better judgment, I just used my extra roll of duct tape I had lying around the house. I have to be honest, even though things didn't go quite as planned, I'm pretty proud with how these came out. And now, there's only one thing left to do, test them out. And what better place to test these bad boys than the town beach? Fuck, it's cold. Once we arrived to the beach, I began prepping for the experiment. I tried to come prepared for the worst, so I brought a change of clothes, an extra towel, along with leaving the car heat on the whole time. However, that didn't stop me from becoming quite nervous.
I don't know if I can do this. It's like 37 degrees out.
Yeah, we filmed this in November, and it was actually 29 degrees out, with a wind chill and water that was even colder. Due to these circumstances, I also realized something else.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fucking die.
It was at this point where some flaws began to show themselves in my design.
Uh-oh. Did you already break it? I might have already broke them.
As we approached the water, the wind only grew stronger and chillier, and words just can't describe how cold we got in those moments before the final test. The moment of truth was fast approaching as I took my first steps towards the water, and although staying balanced was tricky, I had a much bigger problem that was about to present itself very soon.
We're falling apart! Oh, fuck! We can still make this work!
So, yeah, quite possibly the motherlode of all oversights, at no point during creating, designing, or testing the shoes did I take into account that bungee cords are stretchy. As a result of this, the duct tape strap failed and my feet kept lifting out of the shoe. As I stood there, a victim of failure, slowly freezing to death in the cold waters of the lake, my will did not subside. That's right, I made an attempt to go even further in.
I feel like if I could get this one back on, we might have something going here. I give up! I retreat! Subscribe!
After my third attempt quickly resulted in a reenactment of the most traumatizing scene in the never-ending story, I realized it was time to throw in the towel, so I got the shoes and headed back to my car to warm up. And by the way, future me, yeah, enjoy 3 days of intense pain and frostbite on your hands. While I'm disappointed the shoes didn't work, I do believe they would have held up my weight if I'd just been a bit more thorough in my actual structural design. Who knows, maybe someday we'll even try again and we'll get it right next time.
I want to try again.
Okay.
Really? No. I feel like there might have been a couple flaws in my design, like when the shoes began to fall apart.